Our students, Brian Proctor, the art teacher, back again with another lesson, and this is going to be one for you. All right, today I'm going to show you guys how to do perspective, 1 point perspective. We're going to be drawing and measuring a room interior in 1 point perspective and much, much more. Everything you need to do that perfect room in perspective. Much more than that. All right, so let's go. This is going to be kind of a long one, so grab your apple or banana or a sandwich or pizza or whatever, bring it along with you, and let's get to drawing. All right, students, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to do, I'm going to show you how to do perspective, a room interior, measuring and drawing, because nobody really shows you the measuring part. They just start drawing the interior of a room. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys. It's been a long time since I had to break it down like this, but hopefully I'll get it right and you'll understand it. So let's get on with the lesson. So at least the first thing, let's just say that the first thing, we're going to have to like break it down to lead up to the drawing. So I'm going to explain a couple things. Anytime you deal with perspective, you're going to deal with a square or rectangle. Okay, so let's just bypass that. So if I draw a rectangle, and I'm just gonna say squares, so you won't say, oh, that's not a square, it's a rectangle. Okay, so I don't know why in life most things are squares and rectangles, because I guess it's easier to fill up a box with other squares than it is to do a triangle or a cylinder. That's why, we don't have cylinder rooms. It'd be hard to put a poster or a picture on a round wall. So everything is square. You look around, everything you have, your phone, your laptop, your desk, your chair, some type of a square. So it's easier. What I say? Learn how to draw squares. I always say that. Learn your shapes. Do your shapes. Practice, practice, practice. For you beginning drawers, you must practice to be able to do your squares, because in perspective, that's what you're going to start out with, is squares. Okay, so we got that part out the way. Life is a bunch of squares and rectangles. You have a triangle every now and then. It could be a lamp or something, yeah, but basically squares. All right, so drawing a square. In order to find the center of a square, let's say if you want to do a building or something, or a house, and you want to put a door or window in the center of that square, you do the X. And it's got to be from corner to corner. I'm not really using a ruler yet. I'm trying to stay away from the ruler yet part. So wherever that X meets, that's going to be the center of your box. All right, so now if you need to break a box down smaller and smaller and smaller, you have your center, draw a line. Now you have 4 boxes. Okay, so you can make 4 squares in your boxes, or X's, squares in your boxes. So either way, anyway, then you can break it down more, and then that's going to be the center of that. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, or 4 spaces. Let's just say that 4 spaces, 4 equal spaces. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that. Okay, but you enter 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. So if I want to break that down even more, put another line across here, and then I can do my boxes again, and you can just break this down as much as you need be. So if I need another space, come straight down through there, and then you have that same thing here, come down through there. So now you're breaking it down just by doing these X's in these boxes and crossing these boxes out. You have your even spaces. So there's a lot to this, so my mind is going to pause for a second till I get to the next point. I'm not trying to jump from one to the one and miss another one. So, but I might go back. So let's just say, here's my wall. I do a wall, right? And you already know how to find the center of the wall. And you already know how to break it down evenly. X, 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 okay? So whenever you're drawing a room, the one thing you have to do first is your back wall. You have to do your back wall. And then you need to know if you are measuring, because someone asked me to do a video on this so that they can draw their living room, I believe it was. So you have to have your back wall. You put your back wall in somewhere first. I don't know why I'm trying to be so precise with that. Put your back wall in first. Then you want to figure out where your vanishing point is going to be. This is going to be a 1-point perspective. You want to put your vanishing point somewhere on that wall. Is in the beginning is easy to put it in the middle of that wall. Of course, how do we find the middle? We go here and we go there, and that's the middle of your wall. That was close. That was close. So that's the middle of your wall, because everything has to radiate out from that point. And if this is your very, very first time, what I'm saying is radiate all your lines. Your guidelines are going to come from this point. So to do that, let's just say this. You have your point. This is where your eye is going to be. This is going to be the level of your eye right here. Wherever you look, if you look at the ceiling or you look at whatever, well, no, if you're looking at the ceiling, you're looking up. This is if you're standing here. That's going to be your eye level wherever you go. You can look up, but your eye level is still going to be right there. So what I do when I start drawing guidelines is I do a plus symbol, the X, and then I fill out anything else in between these lines. This is where it gets kind of like crazy, because I was never good at math in high school. Where is it at? I guess you'd have to like go around each one. In high school, when I found out I had enough math credits, I took another art class. So whatever I didn't need to graduate, I took another art class. So I think I had 4 art classes out of the 7, because you know there's something you like English and other things you can't get out of. So it's like either 3 or 4 art classes out of the 7 classes that I had all day. Because you know I think PE I got out of PE. PE sucked. So you know I did. Yeah, that's another story. So, okay, so that's what I mean by radiating out. So each line that you have radiating out, just think of a star or a sun or something, and the light is coming out. It's going to be your guidelines. So whatever you draw a box, let's just draw a quick box one in here. It's going to go back. It's going to follow these lines. Anything up and across are going to stay up and across, like drawing an L or an opposite L. Anything, like I said, anything. If you have like this is a wall and you have a refrigerator or a door or whatever, it's not going to go in perspective. It's going to go straight up and across. So if I'm doing a box here, straight up, like an L, the letter L, L and the 7, what was that? L7, it was a song, Rick James, I believe. So anyway, it's going to go straight up like that. And then it's going to follow these lines back. You're seeing the bottom of it because you're down here, you're looking up at this thing. Same thing, if your eye line is right here and you're seeing something from below the eye line, you're going to see the top. And remember, this is going to go straight up and back, and this is going to go back. And depending on if it was over, you'd see some of the side, but it's not really over yet. So then you're seeing the top. That's the premise of perspective, just this starburst or explosion or whatever you call it. I think I used to call it explosion, starburst. So now we have our center line. Now let's just say if we want this building to be, this wall to be like 8 feet, then you have to do your X's. Okay, so we have that, your X's, yeah, your X's. And then you're gonna have your line, because you need that line, you need that eye line. So that's the center of your wall. So you want like 4 on this side and 4 on that side. Give or take, give or take. So we do this again. There is 1, so we have 2. So we're going to do this again. We're going to have that line. Anytime you hit that X, you're going to put that line across it, line straight through it. And then that gives you this right here. That part right there. So you already have half of it. So you have, again, and this is why you continue to do that. So you have the 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I did it on the same thing, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you'd have 8 foot, because you would say to yourself, the space between each one of these is a foot. Okay, let me do the other ones because I'm going to need this, because I'm going to kind of use this. And the only thing I don't like about perspective is you get so many lines. You're getting like so many lines. So we have this, and then here is my X right here. Here is my center. You see what I'm saying? You just get so many lines. You have to kind of, you kind of have to be able to keep up with this stuff. And this is why I didn't like math, because I cannot see numbers in my head. Like if you say, 8 and 8, I mean, the standard ones you already know, 8 and 8, 16, whatever. But if you said 28 and 31, without writing it down, I cannot retain that in my head for some reason. But I can see a person, the anatomy twisted and so forth, without seeing that, in my head, or I can see that in my head, but I cannot see numbers in my head. And when I see these lines, it's kind of the same thing for me. So we go down here, got my line here, and it's off because I'm not using a ruler here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be my 8 foot wall. Okay, so now you have 8 foot wall. You can bring your lines all the way up. And this is for those who are really, really, really doing this detail stuff. Like if you're designing a house or something like that, you're going to need to know this. So we're going to have our walls come from this point. And that's why it's in the center, because it's really easy to do that. We're going to have our 3 walls. Let me get rid of this. I should have used another piece of paper so I could do it. But maybe I'll throw another piece of paper in without all the extra lines. So these are my walls right here. Okay, this is your ceiling, your side wall, your floor, and your other side wall. Okay, now if you just don't see all these other lines. How can I not see them? They're there. So, all right, you have your 8 foot ceiling, 8 foot wall, and then you're going to have your lines come from here. This is where I'm going to use the ruler just to make it a little more clearer and time consuming. So what I do is my point, I'll take my pencil or pen or whatever I'm using, and I'll put it on that point, put my ruler up against it, and then just kind of twist it. Is that one? I think it is one. I hope so. And kind of twist the ruler, and then go from there. That way I won't look at this and find out my point, which is here. I'm using it over there, because once you mess up, you mess up. And yeah, that's another thing about perspective. Once you mess up, everything goes off. And as I say, if you're trying to be, really detailed and really precise, and you find out you messed up, that just takes all the wind out of yourself. And so that one is there. So what I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This was a little bigger because the whole thing is off, because I did not really measure. So anyway, you have that. You have your room. You have your walls. So in order to measure your side walls, you have to, shall we say, measure the floor. So let me get another piece of paper, or let me just turn this piece of paper over, and I will do this straight up to show you what I'm saying as with this at an angle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is say 6. Okay, these are these lines here. Now, if you take from a corner to one corner, almost like you're doing the X. So every time that line hits another line, you're going to, this is what I'm saying about rulers, you're going to draw a line straight across from there. And now you have your square. So if everyone is, what I said, foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet. 6 feet by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet. Now you might be saying, why do I have to do that? And again, if you're trying to be precise and you want to put a couch here and your couch is 4 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is far 1, 2, 3, 4. This is as far as your couch is going to come out. How long is your couch? You know, is it half a foot out? Half a foot between this is about right here. So you're always drawing rectangles and squares. So now when you tilt this piece of paper, this is the floor. This is the floor looking out. Now when you tilt this, you get a whole different view. So you have this, but the principle is the same thing from corner to corner. And I know you say, Brian, why don't you use a ruler? Because as I say, it's going to take some time. And every time that line goes across there, you're going to draw. And then this is where I should have used a ruler, because if the bottom is not straight, the top won't be, and blah blah. So this one, and you see, as I'm saying, all the different lines it gets to you, because I haven't really even started drawing like furniture or people or whatever in there. So you see that this one is more wider than that one. If it's done right, it's done right, and that's how you know you're going back in perspective. So wherever these lines hit this wall, you're going to go up. Now, these guys on YouTube, I mean, you know, these masters, they just, but they really don't explain it, because I looked last night, I said, let me just double check and make sure what I'm teaching is right. But nobody does it. They just start drawing because they're so used to it. That's like people that try to teach you Photoshop. They're so used to it. They just turn on the computer and they start going for it without saying, hey, you know, this is how you do that. This is how you do that. So now you have your wall, you have your 8 feet wall, and it would be the same thing here. And wherever that line hits these spaces, as it hit right there, and then the bottom, you would go to your vanishing point. Well, okay, I'm gonna cheat. I'm just gonna go like this, for time's sake. Missed. Where's that one? That one is right there. All right, so now you have your wall, and you would do the same thing with the other side, because you already have the guides here. So you just go across, you go across, you go across, you go across, you go across. And once you get across here, you can go down, you can go down, you can go down. And then again with the diagonal line, and then you would have a perfect grid of your wall. So right here, you would go across here. This is the front, with every line, wherever every line is, because I'm all over the place with my lines. So that you would have the front. So once you get that, you would have your perfect 8 foot by whatever grid. You'll never see that front wall though. This is why, you know, it's always going to be open, because if I put a wall here, how would you see furniture? So yeah, that's yeah. Whatever I was saying. So if I did this with a pen, it would be a lot better, because you'd be able to see it more if I took all these other lines out. But as I said, if you started out right and did it with the ruler the first time, and you were precise on it, then you wouldn't have all the extra lines. But that knowledge you needed to know to get to this point. So let's do a fake without all of this stuff. Let me see if something else you need to know. A quick way to do this. There's another way to do this. Let's just say, and I'll use it as a fence. Okay, here's my eye line, right? So I want this and this. All right. Let's just say this could be a wall. This could be whatever. Let's just say I'm going to do a fence. So I want to put the first pole. I don't know. Okay, just keep it that high. I want to put the first pole about right here. And no, you know what? I'm not even going to do the pole. Let's just do the line, because I'll put too many lines in it. But just imagine it's a pole. Okay, so the first line is right here. And I want to determine where I want to put the second pole. Okay, this is just really thin pole. So this is where I want to put it. And let's just say this is 2 feet. Now put them 2 feet away. So from the top, you have to have the 2 lines. You have to have your 2 lines, your first and your second one. You kind of gauge where you want to put that. So from the top of this, and the top of your pole, your fence or whatever is going to ride right across here, unless you just want one higher than the other. But you know, when you put a fence or a lamp post or whatever, they're always the same height. So what you want to do is go from the top through the middle to the bottom. And if I am not mistaken, you will be correctly, you place the next one in the correct position like that. And my lines might be crooked. They are. This is why you use a pen or a ruler. My lines are crooked, but I'm cheating. So anyway, you cut through the center, bottom. That's where your next one, you will put your next pole. And like I said, when you mess up, you really mess up. So to do it again, because my lines were crooked, you're going to do from here to there. And this is higher. This is higher. So that's one reason why this is a little longer. Let's find out. So again, you want from this point to this point, and you place your next one there. And as you start going back, they'll start receding and getting smaller. So let me do this. That's what I'm saying. When you mess up in perspective, you mess up in perspective. So this is my top. So I'm gonna go back. You want to go back one. You want to go back one and cut through the front one. So my perspective line is really high, or my eye line is really high. But that's okay, because if you wanted it like that, it would be like that. So you're going to keep going, and all these spaces, so it will start narrowing out. It should start narrowing out. It will start narrowing out. It's one of my hard words. And then if you want to get your floor, which I know the ruler is not set straight. There you go. And the same thing here. You would find out, you know, and we're just kind of like eyeballing it. So like this is one, this is another foot, this is another foot. And you can use a ruler and measure out each inch. So each inch would be, you know, a foot, or, you know, 2 feet or a mile or whatever. And then again, you start, put it on the point, twist your ruler to the side. And I'm trying to work on a perspective ruler where you don't have to, where you can just put the front on your point and it stays there, and then you can just swirl it around without it moving. So again, you have that, and this is like so off because this should have been in the center. This really should have been in the center, and then everything would have, because it's so high. I'm thinking because it's so high, maybe let's find out. It would have kept getting wider. Possibly. So let's do this. Let's do this just for laughs. Center, point. I'm gonna put this in the center. I don't want the top higher. I don't want the bottom higher. I want to put it in the center. Here we have this. Go back. Yeah, because this was so high, it was making the wall, it was making the spaces bigger. So again, right here. And they are narrowing out. That's another one. This is my hard word. Narrowing out, as you see. Hopefully, I'm just drawing this. I'm not even looking at my monitor. So that line has to be in the center of this to make it even. So let's put a line. Now, I've never done this, so this is new to me. I've done this. I've never put a line higher. I was being lazy and I had to higher. So let's put the line lower and see what happens. This is an experiment gone right. Okay, so let's put this higher and this lower, and let's just see what happens. If it makes a difference. So you have your first pole, your second pole. This is my eye line. So if I take this from here, it's going to definitely get narrower as we go along. So I guess the higher you put the line, or the lower you put the line, is going to determine, definitely, determine your space. So this is my line. It's going to be my second one. It determines how wide or how far your space is going to be. Now, see, I've never done that. I've always put it in the middle where it's supposed to be. So I guess being lazy today taught you guys a lesson. Taught me a lesson too, never to do it. Okay, so that's the easy way of doing like the X. But even in here, you still have the X's. And then line, and then the X, and then the line. So, but you can break that square down as far as you want. But this is just a shortcut way of doing it. Eye line, vanishing point, keep that in the middle. Make that, what is that? That's a cone. Make that cone. There's your first pole or your first foot or your first part of your wall. You want 1 foot this way, then you go back to the first one, through the middle and down, up, go to the second one, through the middle and down. So yeah, that's a way to, that's a way to be able to draw and keep everything in perspective. But you got to use that ruler, because when you don't use a ruler, you come out with something messy like that. So now let's do this without all the other stuff. Get rid of that. Here's my back wall. Let's just say you want to just do, you're not really, you're just doing a comic page, or you're not doing something that people are, going to buy because they're not going to put their furniture or whatever. You have that. You have your eye line wherever. Again, wherever you put that eye line, or not the eye line, your vanishing point is going to determine your floor being the angle of your floor. Okay, so if I put, you've already seen the center. This is the center. Okay, I'm going to have just as much floor here as ceiling, as wall, as wall. So if I move that down, let's just say I put the, let's keep it in the middle for now. Let's move it down. My floor is going to be more, well, got to take it to the end now, Brian. Take it to the end. Don't get lazy. My floor is going to be wider, going up here. It's going to be higher. But the floor is not going to be white. It's going to be flatter. It's going to be turned more. Where is it? It's kind of hard to do it on camera. Let's use just the white paper. It's going to turn more in like, just the lower you put it, the more it's going to turn in. Hopefully you see that by what I'm doing. So you're going to have all this floor. The ceiling's going to be way up here. And then that. Now, if I took that vanishing point, I don't know why I drew all these extra lines, and I moved that vanishing point, I want to keep these walls. I don't know why. It's just me. It's just me. And I took that vanishing point and I moved it up here. And here's my eye line. And then, yeah, every time you move it, these walls are going to change. I was thinking you could keep these, but you can't. The walls are going to come off your corner every time, but it depends on where your vanishing point is set. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to come this way and that way. And you now have a different shape for your floor and ceilings. It's going up more instead of tilting down more. You don't always have to put it in the center. I'm just doing the center for now, and then we will, I will move it like right now. So let's say I move it over. Let's say I'll move it over here. It's my vanishing point. This is my eye line. So now I have to find my corners. I guess it would be good if I had a real corner instead of a fake discount corner. So it's going to come through here. It's going to come through here. So it's got to line up. This point has got to line up with that corner. Go through there. this has got to line up with that corner. So I'll put it here, put my pencil here, and then I'll move this over. It's got to line up here to this corner here. So you have that which puts you closer to this wall. So if you were in this room, is that right? Yeah. If you were in this room, you would be kind of straddling this wall here, where this wall would not be being straddled. So if I put a door here, well, it's got to go to that point. Everything at top has got to go to this point. Remember that radiating? If I put two doors here versus putting a door here, well, I can make the door lower. Now, if I did something like this, let me get into that real quick. If I did two doors, and I knew that I wanted my doors here, and I wanted doors on the same spot on the other side, like this was a hotel room or office or whatever. So what I would do is this. Let's make a straight line at the bottom here. So I would take, where's my door? This is the door right here, following that straight line. Do this and this. Nope, I'm not even on that line. So yeah. Anyway, if I was on that line here, let's bring this down just for kicks. This door would hit where the door hit right here, and would go up and follow that line. So the same thing would be here. This would be the top of my door. Wherever my door is. Now I'm getting a bunch of lines again, so it's really getting to me. So this would be it. So this point is going to go from here to here and up, and then I would have my doors, but that line is not. So you have to be careful where you put your line, depending on what view you're trying to get in your room. You know, the closer to that line, the closer to this side of the wall where you put your point, the more flatter that's going to be, the more wider that's going to be. And I'm looking for a pin. Just pick this one up right here. So it would look something like this. And that one's going off the page. So as I said, I cheated with this line, but I just wanted to let you see where that door would be. The door would be like this. So if somebody opened that door inside and they open that door inside, they'd be like, oh, hey, George, hey, Tom, how you doing? You sleep good last night? Like that. So they would be even. The line would have to be even. You messed up. Because this line would have to be this one, and this line would have to be that one. Rulers. All right, let's move that line again somewhere else. Let's take this and just put it someplace else, but let's use the back. Waste of paper. Paper costs money. So here's my door, or here's my back wall. Always start out with your back wall. So let's just say I put my vanishing point here. Here's my eye line again. And because it's still over this side, this wall is going to be more tilted, and this wall is going to be more open or more further out. And there's your eye line. And remember, anything up below the eye line, you're going to see the top, and anything above, you're going to see the bottom. So let's say I stay with this view right here. What do I don't need this? Do I? I don't think so. I don't need that either. I needed the other one. All right. So, I mean, I could have made a smaller wall to go way back there to put more stuff in. But now that I have that, and if I needed to measure out, remember, I can say, this is my first line, this is my second line. And you got to go in the middle. You got to go in the middle. We did that already. You got to go in the middle or this is going to mess up. So it's better to do the boxes. But anyway, you have that. You have your measurements out. And then you go across your floor. And then you go back up across the ceiling. And then you go across here. And then you measure. That's your measurements right there when you go across here. So you have all that first part. And then you have this, and if you wanted to do that, you can. What? I don't know. All right, so I'm adding this little add-on in. As I was editing, I said, let me put this in there to make it a little better because I had so many lines in the original on the first drawing. So what I'm doing again is I'm trying to show you guys about moving your vanishing point. So if I put the vanishing point right here, then my walls are going to be like this. I'm just going to do a couple different ones. So this is going to be my side wall. This is going to be my wall right there. And we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of these. So as I said, you'll be hugging this wall. The closer you get to this, the more turn that wall would be. So if I do another one, if I flipped it, let's just flip it. And it's weird flipping it. If you put it on the other side, it'll be like that. It'll be you'll be hugging this wall. Let's do another one. You already know about the middle. So where can I put this one at? Let's put this one top right here. I don't know if I did this in the original one or not, but yeah, your lines are gonna have to go from here to your corners. From here to your corners. So every time you change this, you will have a different shape room. So it depends on how you want to draw your room, or what kind of particular angle you want to see your room from. Then you just move this around, and you can play with this all day. Just draw your squares, draw a bunch of squares, and then let me turn this over. I'm killing my paper. Just draw a bunch of squares. I'll do them small, and then put your vanishing point in somewhere. And then remember, it goes from here to here to here to here. So these are going to be your corners of your walls, and then draw a big square around that, and see what you get. You know, if you want to draw a long corridor, make your back wall smaller. And then let's just say I'll put it, I don't know, someplace I didn't really put it, like right here. And then you're just going to go longer. And then you have a long corridor. Get rid of these. And you have that long corridor. And then you can put your doors in. Put the door in right there. You got to get that floor right first. Put the door in here. I'm not going to. I'm going to use my vanishing point. Put a door here. Put a door here. Put a door here. And then go right across. There. And there's my vanishing point again. You across here and here. So this is your top of your door, and it's going to go down. Same thing. Where's the door at? There's a door here. Where's the door? This is the door. This is the door. Okay. Here. And another door here. And you're going to erase these lines down here. This is just the guide where your door is. And then you're using the top of this door to guide you to your other doors like that. So yeah, I just want to throw this add in on. Where's the door? This is the door. That's a door. That's a door. I just want to throw that add in on. Depending on where you put your point determines, how much wall you're going to have, how much floor you're going to have, because you can make it where you have no ceiling, which I just showed you. You can make it where you have no floor, but you have more ceiling. So it depends on your scene that you're drawing. And what I would do is I would draw, usually, if I'm drawing a scene, I'll draw my back wall and I have to draw my people here. And then I will say to myself, I know, all right, so I think my eye line is going to be right here. So then you can put your eye line there, and then you can do your room based on that way you decided to put your eye line at. And the same thing for people. If you want to draw people, the same way you drew the doors, you would draw your people that way. So you got the top of the head. Here's my next guy right here. And where his feet are, off on the floor, hopefully. And then the next one is going to be right here. And each one is going to be bigger, so you can't draw them like the same size. Maybe they're waiting to use the bathroom. They're like, come on, man, come on. I've been waiting here for 42 minutes. You got to come on, cut it loose, something. So yeah, just know that each one is going to be bigger, and you have another guy right here. So same thing. If you want somebody over on the other side of the room or just in the middle of the room, you could just draw that line. This is the top of his shoulders. This is the floor right here. And again, here I go with all other lines. And it's the top of his head, provided he's the same size. If I drew a child, thicker pen, please, Brian, thicker pen. If I drew a child, so this is going to be this is going to be the person. If I drew a child, I would just draw the child, however big, the little kid is. To, the father or the mother or whatever is like, yeah, please hurry up, I'm peeing my Pampers. So yeah, just same with the door, same with people. And if you want another person, over here, you can do the same thing. Just continue him on, or continue that line on, and then he's on the other side. If it's somebody smaller, just like a female or something, just make them smaller. So yeah, I just wanted to insert that. That's a whole new video right there. Another 6 minutes and 44 seconds. All right, back to the regular video. I don't know. My brain is starting to think 2 steps ahead of where I'm at. So anytime you put furniture in here, since this is your eye line, again, if I put a box or something on this wall, and if I'm going to put something on this wall, if this is my back wall, I can't put it up here or it'll be floating. So I have to put it like right against the wall, or leave a space for the wall, leave a space in between the wall. I'm just going to do the bottom. I'll do the bottom of the box. And I'll put the top of the box on there in a second. So right off the bat, the ending line is going to go here and here. So if I do the top of this box, it's now a table turned upside down, or it could be a glass table. No, Brian, come on, be right, do right, now do right. It's got to be like this, and the same thing with this. It's got to go to that point. This is why I'm not a big perspective fan, because as I say, when it messes up, it really messes up. Okay, now I'm gonna put a base. Let's just lift that base up a little higher and give this a little leg, and it's gonna be like a glass shelf, glass table. So this other leg is gonna be right here. So this is gonna connect to that, and this is gonna go this way. And then let's bring these poles up a little bit more. See-through, so it's glass, as I said. Bring the poles up a little bit more. And we'll put another shelf right here in between the two. This is there, this is going to be there naturally. And this part is going to go there. So yeah, anytime you do a box, what am I saying? All right, so anytime I put something in the room and I need to know the size, I already have those guidelines. So I can say let's say that's 2 feet. So I'm at 1, 2, 3. I took it 3 feet off of here, and you have the 1, 2. Wherever these lines would have been at, I would have counted in between here, and I would have said, okay, that's that. So then I have my guidelines that goes through here. I can count that too. I can say 1, 2, 3. It's what I say, 2 feet across and 3 feet long. So I have my 3 feet. Then I would have drew the box. That's when you're trying to draw precise. If you're just trying to draw stuff in a room, just kind of quickly make up a room, it doesn't really matter. But as long as everything goes back to that point, that starburst. So if I wanted to do a bed, but if I did a bed and it's a king size bed and that bed is not bigger than that, then it's going to look kind of crazy. So remember, whatever is going to have to go behind that line. This is going to go here. Let's just say this is a bed. This is the head post of the bed. And I'm going to bring it up off the floor. And this is going to be the end of my bed. even these. So if you draw a box, everything you do, if you draw a box and you chop it up, let's just draw a box. So let's draw a box. Let's draw a box, which is a mattress, is a box anyway. Or I could have just drew this whole thing as a big box and then erase what I didn't need. Just say I drew the back. So I'm gonna pull out my pen because it gets too messy, too messy. Too many lines in perspective. So my mattress is gonna come out, up, into the box spring, down. Anything up and across is gonna be up and across like the L7. It's just something going back. It's gotta go back to this. So this is gonna come back. So this is gonna be the side of the front of that mattress. Now if I wanted to, I could pole right here, and that other pole is gonna still fit on that same line. It's gonna go on that same line. Here's my leg, which comes down a little bit more. And if I wanted to do cover or something on it, or blanket or whatever. Pillow. So whenever you're drawing squares, it's got to go back to that point, unless you take something and you turn it, like you say, I want a chair in here, but that chair is not going to be, everything's not going to be uniform. It's like if I put a TV on the wall or whatever, it's got to go back to the thing. If I put a window above the bed, it has to go back to that point. So everything is uniform going back to this point. So if I wanted to put a chair or something here, all you have to do is you're staying on that line, you're staying on that your horizon line, and you're going to pick another point, and you're just going to do the same thing opposite. So if I'm going to do a chair, I don't want to do a chair in 2-point perspective. If I did 2-point perspective, I had to do another one, and it would look like this. Like that, and then you chop your chair out, which if I did a 2-point perspective chair, it would look like that. So if I did a box, erase this again. A lot of lines, 41 minutes. I thought about chopping this into 2 parts, but I'm like, nope. So let's do this. Draw your square. This has got to be flat. And then you're going back like this. So, and then I can make a chair. This is a little big for a chair. But since it's going to this point, and my legs right here, and then that chair is not going to be uniform with everything else, because the bottom is going to go there. That's what I say, draw your box, chop it up, and then I'll tilt this chair back, because nobody wants to sit in a straight chair. And then this. And you might see some of that front leg, which would go across here. If that's your front leg, go across here. That leg is going to come down to about right there. And then you have your chair, which is still in perspective, but it's going to a different vanishing point. Put my wall back. Which is now a crooked wall. Where's the top of the wall? So now a crooked wall. TV. Window. That bed was too far from that wall. The wall should have been about right there, but there could be a floor. What do you call those things? A little, that protect your wall, the floor. And if I put a window or something right there, it's like that square. It's going to be, remember, your L7. It's going to be, yeah. So because of time, I'm going to end it right here. Hopefully I covered everything and I wasn't too fast with it, but just look at it again and again and again. And then you will pick it up. Because if you like I said, if you're measuring and you want to put a king size bed, and the king size bed is whatever 56 long, and you put a dresser right there, and your dresser is like 30 whatever long. I'll just do this in pen, maybe I can get away with it. You're going to need to know how big or how long your room is. So measuring, that's how you measure. You measure your room. And then I could put something over here like a nightstand or something. So you're going to need to know, like, okay, the nightstand is whatever inches, 32 inches. This is 56. This is 30 whatever inches, to fit on that wall and still have some space, you know, unless you just want to just draw something and like, oh, look, there's my room, you know. And yeah, like I say, it doesn't make sense because your glass table is bigger than your bed. And yeah. So hopefully that does. If you got lost somewhere, leave me a comment and I'll try to rectify that mistake somewhere, somehow, in another video. So that's going to be it, because I don't want to keep you guys at 50, 60 minutes, an hour doing perspective. And I will see you in the next video. Hard part is going to be having a thumbnail. That's going to be hard. All right, see you guys in the next video.